So what I'd like to do is have this method return two things. Okay. So if you go after the word public and you put a parentheses.
Interesting.
Okay, and then go after the first part and say messages.
Do comma?
Space, no. Messages. And then say comma, space, and then say int staff count.
Oh, that's
Close the parentheses. Now then get rid of the second parameter there.
Gotcha.
That part. Yeah, get rid of that. Okay.
Interesting.
So so that should get rid of that intervening one reference that wound up. Is that that looks like a fit and finish bug. So maybe put that on one line again so that we don't have that particular problem. Okay. Now there is a change here because before we passed in a staff count.
Right.
And now we're not. So it's swiggled. Okay. All you need to do is put a var in front of that.
Okay, so...
Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. So we were passing in an out parameter, and it was defining that variable for us locally. It's not doing that now. It's defining, like this tuple, I'm assuming the return type here is the tuple.
It is. Uh-huh.
So, and that tuple, for those of you who don't know, is like it's basically a collection of things that you can't modify.
It's actually, no, because our tuples are going to be mutable. They will be changeable.
Oh, they are mutable.
Yeah,
okay.
they are mutable.
My bad.
What they are is a collection of things stuffed together that are of different types. That's how it differs from an array. An array, everything is exactly the same type.
Yes.
Okay, here it's a bunch of different types, whatever it is that we needed. Now we've had a tuple, and there's a couple of things wrong with the current tuple, and we've had it for actually quite a while. We've had it since we got generics.
Really?
Yeah, 2005. Yeah, the current tuple a long time. Okay, but
there's a tuple type.
It's a tuple type.
Oh, okay,
yeah. And so the current tuple type, first of all, it's a value. I mean, it's a reference type. Okay. So every time you create a tuple, you create an allocation on the heap, which for the kinds of things you're going to do with tuples may not be okay. And the second thing is the only way you could access its members were item 1 and item 2.
Yeah.
We all love that.
Yeah.
Now, that still exists, and even item 1 and item 2 exist for backwards compatibility, but you generally will never use it again. Okay, you would probably never say item 1 and item 2 again. Okay, so yay. And the new is a value tuple, so it's a value type, and so you're not going to have extraneous stupid allocations going on to the heap that you don't need just because you're managing your data this way.
Gotcha.
Okay, so you still have another squiggle. Okay,
yeah,
so make a guess. What do you think we're going to do down there?
Well, so we have to return the tuple of those two things mashed together. So if I just had to guess, and I'm guessing at the syntax.
I want you to guess.
So if I just combine messages and staff count into what I think a tuple should look like, and then we're done.
Isn't that cool?
Look at that! All the squiggles are gone.
Okay, that's cool. So
okay, and just to clarify, is that correct?
It is.
Okay, good.
It is correct.
Fantastic.
It is correct. And
Fantastic.
now, just also for clarification here, they could be Fred and Joe.
Yes.
Okay, so there's no requirement that you have the same names that you're returning as in that return statement.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So
you could do a calculation right in that return statement.
Well, so that's interesting. So the names that I'm returning here, like the local variable names, basically messages refers to the messages that we declare here on line 10.
Right.
Not the messages that are declared in the tuples.
That's true.
So why do I have to put names inside of the tuple?
Well, you don't absolutely have to. I just think you want to. So let's go call this thing.
Okay.
Okay.
So if I do, I want to...
You can position on one reference there if you like.
Thank you.
And just
that's
jump
the
there that way. Okay.
Beep.
And then that's going to take you to our main program. And now, oh, it's not happy.
It's not happy at all.
Okay, so let's... I'm gonna let you make a guess here too.
Okay.
You figure out how you think. Yeah, let's get rid of that term equals null thing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so the things I know. No, we use a loose term here. I know we don't have to pass that in anymore. But the thing I don't know is how to structure the tuple that's going to contain the return value.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess just based on, the reason that tuples exist is to make your life easier, right? So if I do something like, and I'm just guessing here, but we'll define a tuple that contains the value messages and staff count. Okay,
so you don't have any types defined right there.
I don't.
So why don't you get some types there? So that was an enumerable string. Okay, and you're going to have to spell enumerable correctly.
Well...
So what IntelliSense is there for, to help you there? Okay.
Fix that in Microsoft. It's close enough.
So what do you think?
Wait, there's no squigglies, which makes me happy,
right.
And it reads correctly. So,
okay. So that's one of two syntaxes we can use here. So let's continue down this, and then I'll show you the second syntax.
That sounds fantastic.
Okay, so first of all, you're working harder than you need to.
I know.
So I would like to do something here just for clarity for everybody.
Yeah, please.
Can you go back to get thank you messages? Can you flip back to the other code? And then can you put a 2 after messages and staff count? Because I want to be really clear that we're not lining up names here, okay?
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
So let's put, okay, so let's do that. Now flip back to the other, and you'll see no squiggles. And you see no squiggles in that return statement.
Correct.
Okay? So this is great. Okay, so now the next thing is, well, we kind of like var a lot, don't we?
We do.
I do. Okay.
Yep.
So why don't you see what would happen if you replaced the types in your declaration on line 14 with var?
Okay, so you're saying literally like...
Is that going to work? Okay. Do you like that?
I love that.
Okay. Now, there's a shortcut here I think we should be able to do.
Okay.
What if you put var outside of the tuple?
You mean like right here?
Yeah. And then take out the other 2.
So that's...
What do you think?
So it was non-intuitive at first, but now that I see it, it makes total sense.
It's very sweet.
Absolutely
now,
makes total
I'll
sense.
also tell you something else, which you will never forget again.
Okay.
Which is to format this is Control KD.
What was that?
Control KD.
I don't remember what you just said.
Okay, that's my initials. It's my initials.
Oh, you'll never forget it. So if what does Control KD do again? I was being absolutely
You were being a
silly.
pain in the neck.
Yeah, I was being a pain in the neck. And
all right. Okay. So it reformats your code.
Oh, okay. So
Control KD, make that pretty, because it's bothering me that those extra spaces were in there. Okay. Now, the reason that we have a squiggle on line 19 is because we have 2 different names. So fix one of them, whichever one you'd rather.
Okay. So if I just do like here, just see what you mean.
Okay.
Like
so now we're good to go.
Yes.
Okay. Is that nice?
Oh yeah, but then there's this, which is bugging me. This the string join. Sorry, never mind.
You don't like the string join?
I don't.
Why don't you like string join?
Just because it reminds me of the string format, and I want to get rid of it.
Oh, except the string join does something way cooler than that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So if you've ever taken an array of strings and you've gone, okay, here's a loop, and I'm going to put a comma in between all of them, except now I have to take off the one at the end. And if you've ever done that code, just forget it. Just never do it again. Do string.join because it just puts the new line in between each one. And I don't know why I just have the new line and not the carriage return new line, except that
you don't need. Yeah,
why at this point do we still need those? But we do because we're in Windows land. So okay. So at any rate, that's one of the 2 syntaxes for getting tuple values. Okay. The other syntax, let's go ahead and do it. Do you want to just copy that line on 14 and 15, and then we'll put it on a new line, and we'll look at both syntaxes together. Okay. So here, just say var, and then why don't you just call this tuple with a lowercase t to make clear what we're doing?
Like that?
Right. So now we're getting a tuple back. Okay. So
makes sense.
You could put it on one line or leave it the way it is, depending on what you want to do there.
Sure.
And now let's do a new console.write line. And now you can just either copy the staff count. We do the same thing, but we use the new value. So we do tuple dot.
And it looks, and that's where the names come in. So the names in the return
exactly. This is why you named them. So now you're going to get staff count, and it's staff count 2 because of what we did on the other side. Right. Exactly. Put a semicolon out there, and we'll be happy.
Okay.
Okay.
So absolutely fantastic. So
we have 2 different syntaxes for getting this value back, depending on what you're going to do.
Yep.
You want one or the other.
That makes absolute sense, because sometimes, and that's how tuples are often used in Python as well. We're just cramming this stuff together as a list to pass around for a while, or I really want to treat these things as kind of an object thing.
And if you get there and you say, wait a minute, the reason I've got 2 things is because I'm doing 2 things in this method, and I shouldn't be doing 2 things in this method. Then you throw it out and you say, wait, I didn't do it. I don't want to use tuple here. I'm going to go back and call 2 methods. So let's not throw single responsibility out the window just because we can pass a lot of values around. There are still times this is extremely valuable to use.
Yep.
And so It's a great feature for us going forward. But
Absolutely.
you know, we might.
Well, but just in the sense like here of not using the out variable. Like even just the syntactic baggage that comes around with the like declaring an out variable,
Oh, yeah.
you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that you sort of have to read the signature and then go back in the code, and there's just a lot of context to carry around there, as opposed to this like, oh, I'm getting back 2 values.
Right.
Love it.
Right. Now we got rid of some of that
Yes.
by being able to put an out variable in line, but
Correct.
we were able to put an out variable in line just about the time that we can now use
Yes.
tuples in our own code.